So remember how I keep saying like the rumored opponent for Edge is Roman Reigns at WrestleMania?
Mm-hmm.
That's 100%. Like that's actually I should say that's about 90% positive. The interesting thing that I thought was kind of neat is that so Edge and Daniel Bryan are both on creative.
Yep.
It's funny because so Edge winning the Rumble, Edge going to WrestleMania, and Edge potentially wrestling Roman Reigns and winning the title are all Edge's ideas. Daniel Bryan's ideas have all been to push other talent. Bring these guys up to the main event level so that he can leave. And I thought that was kind of interesting. Like, and I don't want to make it sound like it's a slight to Edge, but it is kind of a slight to Edge in the sense that he has the ability to say, okay, we're going to push these guys and bring them up. But the flip side is that it will depend on, for me personally, it'll depend on who he feuds with after Reigns. So if he does, in fact, go to WrestleMania and beat Reigns for the title, which I think at this point he has to. Like, he has to win.
Oh, yeah.
I understand, like, he wants to wrestle, what was it again? Seth Rollins was one he wanted to wrestle. And there was one other that I can't remember. But, like, Ricochet was another one that he had said he wanted to wrestle, although where Ricochet's at and how Ricochet's booked, I don't think he should. No. They won't book it the way it should be done. In fact, I'll be amazed if Ricochet re-signs with them. I really will.
I definitely will.
I was surprised that Riddle re-signed. I was really surprised that Riddle re-signed because his presentation is god-awful.
And Cesaro?
Cesaro, I wasn't surprised so much with Cesaro because, like, yeah, the easy answer is, well, it's Cesaro, and he's a wrestling machine, and he could go anywhere.
Yeah.
But they always fail to mention that he's also older. Okay. So, yes, he is still in phenomenal shape, and he's still one of the best wrestlers on the planet. But well, we talked about this with AEW. At some point, AEW and even TNA, TNA, they're both, or Impact. Yeah, it's Impact Wrestling.
Yep.
Both companies are going to get to that point where it's like, well, I mean, we could hire ex WWE guy, right?
Yep.
Like, Cesaro would be a good get. There's no way around it. If he went to AEW, he'd be a good get. If he went to Impact, he'd be a good get. If he went to New Japan, he'd be a really good get for New Japan. But there's no guarantees he'd be actually any better off,
Yeah. That's a guy that deserves a push. Before the Rumble.
Yeah, he deserves a push.
When it looked like he was getting that push before the Rumble, I was actually kind of hoping he would win it. Because, I mean,
and then he didn't get it,
That guy deserves the title at least once before he retires. 100%.
It's not going to happen.
Not going to happen. Not going to happen.
The only way it happens is if Daniel Bryan wins the title. Daniel Bryan wins the title.
I don't fault Edge. I don't fault Edge for wanting to go all the way and win that title one last time. I mean, Daniel Bryan returned from that injury and he got his last title reign, right? I mean, I think, especially considering the way he went out, which stuck.
How did he go out? How did Edge go out? Did he go out like most wrestlers do, where they lose their last match?
No.
Oh. Huh. So he didn't actually lose the title or his last match. In fact, his last match, he retained at WrestleMania?
Yeah. And then he had to forfeit the next night. Yes.
Oh, man, that is some rough shit that he retained at WrestleMania. In fact, he retained. He didn't tell them he was retiring.
What would be worse? What do you think would be worse? To lose or have to forfeit the title?
Every wrestler retires by losing. Except for Undertaker. But most of the guys go out on their backs. In fact, that's almost like the quote-unquote how you should go out.
Yeah, because they had, nonstop retirement matches for years, right? Flair, Michaels.
Right, but I mean, when it was Shawn Michaels' last official match, did he win it or did he lose?
Technically, he won it because he came back and did that stupid tag match.
Forget about that. Forget about that. Okay, but did he win it or did he
lost.
lose?
He lost.
Okay. What about Ric Flair? I'm only specifically speaking about his first retirement from WWE. Did he win or did he lose?
He lost.
Huh. Interesting. Austin?
I don't remember. I don't even remember what Austin's last match was. What was Austin's last match?
He might have won it, actually.
I don't even remember.
But his was different because I don't think he actually had an official retirement match, though.
No, I think he kind of just stopped, and that was it.
Yeah. Yeah. The Rock's last official match, he lost. And he lost the title. That's so weird. So what?
Yeah, but you're talking about guys that retired on their own merits of being old, not being injured, and never being able to wrestle again.
I actually don't think Rock is too old to continue wrestling.
No, but he's doing his acting. Rock doesn't really count. Rock didn't.
Why doesn't he count?
Because come on, man.
I'm curious. Why doesn't The Rock count?
Because he could come and go whenever he wants, but why would he come and go when he's got?
Well, now he can't. Now he can't.
Now he can't, obviously, with COVID and shit. But
No. Because it's a liability thing. Because
there's a good chance he'll wrestle when they go to Hollywood.
There's a good chance. However, one of the biggest reasons he hadn't done this prior was because he got injured wrestling John Cena, and they had to push back filming of Hercules.
Right.
So that's why. And I mean, you could argue, well, it's The Rock, and he can do whatever he wants. If the big daddy warbucks that make more money than Rock does say, you know what, don't do that wrestling thing, or if you do that wrestling thing, you can't be in this movie. You know what The Rock's going to do? He's going to go, yeah, I don't want to do that wrestling thing anymore.
Yeah.
Well, I'm totally fine not doing the wrestling thing.
Especially the way he books himself, right? Like for movies, like he's fucking movie after movie after movie after movie. So if he's got to push one back, then the whole lineup's getting pushed.
But I will play devil's advocate for you. I will go, okay, everything works out perfectly. The stars align. Rock comes back. Mm-hmm. Crowds, obviously. Okay, he's not coming back to the Zoom fucking COVID version of wrestling. No, he comes back. Crowds, just like Brock Lesnar, comes back when there's crowds. Okay, all right. Has that match with Roman Reigns. Who wins that match? Does Rock win that match and then retire, beating Reigns for the title? Or does Rock lose the match and then retire on his back?
It would depend. If it's a title match, then I don't see him winning.
Oh, okay. All right.
What if it was a non-title match?
I still don't see him winning.
There's crowds. You don't know?
I still see him losing to Reigns and putting over the tribal chief.
But I mean, even then, like WrestleMania Hollywood is what? 2023 or 24? Which one was Hollywood?
For some reason, I want to say it's 2023, but it might be. They might have said 2024. It might be 2024 because at least you can almost guarantee that crowds will be back.
Yeah, because they like announced 3 in a row there in the one shot. So
yeah, I want to say no, I want to say 2023 actually.
2023. So, I mean, that's 2 years away still. Is Reigns still the tribal chief by then? Is the tribal chief still the character it is now by then? It's hard to say.
It doesn't matter. It does not matter whether he's a heel or a face. Roman Reigns goes over on The Rock, 100%.
All right.
As it should be.
No, I agree. Reigns should win.
Now, just so we're clear, at the beginning of this wrestling rant, I did say Edge has to win the title. Okay?
Yes.
I have said in the past I would prefer him to wrestle Drew McIntyre because I feel like that match would be better. Also for Drew, though, because I think it'll just push him up a little bit higher.
Yep.
Because up until recently, Drew's run hasn't been the greatest, and it's not his fault. It's just the way he's been booked. His character has been largely good. His opponents, unfortunately, haven't been.
Right.
So it's like you could be the best hero in the world, right? But like if Spider-Man is constantly fighting Paste Pot Pete all the time, he's like the only shit character that I can think of that hasn't been pulled back into being really awesome, right? Or what the hell is it? The rock and roller, the roller derby dude.
How the fuck do you remember these?
I honestly, I don't know. I have no idea. I don't even know if that's his name, but I just picture him like I think he's all red with some yellow accents, and he's on skates. He's not even on rollerblades. I think he's on roller skates because it's the 70s.
Oh.
Anyway, regardless, if Spider-Man's fighting that guy all the time, you're gonna go, okay, well, Spider-Man's cool, but
yeah.
I mean, like, of course he's gonna beat Paste Pot Pete. Who can't beat Paste Pot Pete? How many times can Chris say Paste Pot Pete? Quite a bit. Okay, but like, so up until this point, up until recently, the run hasn't been that great. It's gotten better now, but I do think Edge beating Drew, it'd be one of those like build him up in defeat type of things. But at the same time, someone's got to beat Roman Reigns, and why can't it be Edge?
Yeah.
Right. So yes, I'm a little bit irked that he booked himself into this. But at the same time, it is awesome to see. And it's awesome to see that he's at every show and that he's like, I'm not a fucking part-timer. So that's awesome. Like, that's really great. It'd be cooler if like his other appearances did boost ratings. That would be cool. But I mean, the presentation's great. And I mean, I do feel like whoever does beat him for the title will get that oomph and that rush. But when he retires at this point, you know how he will have retired, Kenneth?
On his back.
By losing the title on his back. Oh, man.
I think, honestly, I think Edge is going to win at WrestleMania. I don't think he's going to hold the title that long. I wouldn't be surprised if Reigns wins it back a month or two later.
I actually think it'll depend. It will depend on a couple of factors.
Yeah.
I think it'll depend on how well the victory is received. So I think it'll be one of those that I will say wait and see. Because I feel the same way. I don't think it'll be that long of a reign, and nor should it be. But it also depends on how well it's received. And also, it'll depend on if now Reigns decides, okay, you know what, I'm going to take a break for a bit.
Yeah, he might.
Because he's been nonstop for the last, 6 months? Has it been that long?
It's crazy, right? Like, he took time off because of COVID, and he was worried, about his
COVID and, stay home with his kids. I think his wife, they have like 5 million kids. They have quite a bit of kids.
Well,
Wasn't it like triplets or something?
The Samoan, right? They're building that tribe. Building that tribe.
Those Samoans, man. They either have
the next three generations of WWE superstars.
Yeah, no kidding. But yeah, so like COVID, plus stay home with his family, which, fine, good for him. Yeah. I was actually impressed that he was like, no, I'm going to stay home. Yeah. I was super impressed. So I want to say 6 months. For some reason, I'm thinking 6 months.
At least 6 months.
And like running the show. So now we can he might want to take some time off, and it'll be well-deserved if he does, if he decides to. And then I guess the other kind of flip side to that is, if the whole purpose was to book this just so that Edge loses the title at in the next month, then what was the point?
Yeah.
Because then nobody's really at that point, it's only Edge getting over because Reigns is already over. So yeah, his star will diminish a bit by losing to Edge, which the match will be awesome. So I have no reason to think that a match won't be awesome. Mm-hmm. So then all it does is just bring him back to the spot where he was at when he beats Edge back. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
So it's, I shouldn't say what's the point? You know what? I mean, if I'm in that situation, I might have done the same thing. I might not be like Daniel Bryan and go, no, let's get all these guys over right, instead of me. But it's tough. It's tough. I do think, like, in all seriousness, Edge is a fan of wrestling,
Yep.
like a lifelong fan. So Edge does want the product to be better, and he wants to be, and he's one of the guys that's helping it to get better.
Yep.
So I don't know. I don't know if he drops it right back to Reigns. I think he might beat Reigns again and then drop it to someone else. Someone else that actually could benefit from the rub, from the push. And then after that, it's, who knows? I don't think that Reigns will take a long time out of the title picture. I think he'll definitely go right back into it very quickly. And there's no reason for him not to.
So who would Edge lose to? If not Reigns, who? Because
that's the tough one, though.
He's SmackDown there, right? So it's going to be a SmackDown superstar. Rollins?
The only other one that I could think of would be the next in line heel, which would be Seth Rollins. And then that might be how we turn Reigns heel. Or babyface, sorry.
Right. But then you get your Reigns versus Rollins at the next WrestleMania.
Right. I mean, not to suggest that Rollins would have, like, a 6-7 month reign. Maybe this would be that now where they start doing the Rock and Austin title reigns, where it's like Austin wins the belt for like 2 months, loses it to The Rock for like 2 months, then wins it right back.
Yeah.
So they're trading and then building up to that WrestleMania one.
Oh, man, I miss those days. Because, like, honestly, fucking besides losing for 2 weeks, Drew's had the title since last WrestleMania.
Yeah, exactly. Now, I mean, obviously, but it's not just Drew, though, and COVID is obviously a little bit different, but they've been doing this for a couple of years. Like, every single time Brock won that title, after that first initial run when he came back and he held it for 1,000,000 years.
Yep.
I was like, holy shit, because they hadn't done that for so long that it was like, okay, all right. So then, when the guy that finally beats him takes that title, it's going to be one of those, like, holy shit deals. The only problem was, of course, they were trying to have it be Roman Reigns again.
Yeah.
2 years in a row, actually, they tried that. Where
and who was it? Who was it?
I think it was both times it was Reigns. Lesnar. I think it was both times Lesnar.
Yeah.
Right. That's right. There was the cash in.
Yeah.
That was the cash in, right? So, because it was originally going to be Reigns and Lesnar, and then at the last minute they were like, they're going to boo Reigns.
Yeah.
So they had him cash. That's right.
Yeah.
And then Rollins had that run. That was a great run, though.
Oh yeah.
Too bad that it was marred by injury, though.
Yeah. Yeah, that's shitty.
Yeah, that's right. But they did try with Lesnar and Reigns like 2 years in a row, and it was the same thing. Lesnar wins the title, holds it for a long time. Now Lesnar wins the title, and I'm like, fuck, I don't even, like, fuck this.
Yeah.
Even if he came back 2 years from now and then immediately won the title, I have a feeling I'd be like, no, not anymore. I don't care anymore.
No, he had his time. Like,
anyway,
all over.
Yeah. Anyway, rant's over.